My top 25 albums from the first 25 years of the 21st century.
Giant Orange Records.
Hello, I'm Stefan, a working musician and aviation nerd, always looking for the next great record. The early 2000s were a formative time for me, and when bands like the Strokes, the White Stripes, the Hives, and Ryan Adams were new, I learned that it was okay to like old music and mix vintage sounds with new sounds. It felt like a renaissance, and thankfully lifted us out of the bullshit nu metal that was taking over in the late 90s. Some of my friends would make fun of me for listening to the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and Led Zeppelin. They said, "That's your parents' music. You have to listen to our music." And we were listening to stuff like the Wallflowers, Matchbox 20. I'm ashamed to admit I liked Matchbox 20 now, but I was like 11 at the time when that came out, so please forgive me. But we also listened to stuff that still holds up, like The Verve and Green Day. And I told those same friends in my preteen wisdom that the band Creed sucks. And I was right. They kept defending them and saying they were awesome. For once, I was right, and they were wrong, and my young instincts were on point. I started high school in 2000, and that was the year the movie Almost Famous came out, which I didn't see immediately, but my older friends would drive me to high school in the morning. We listened to the Howard Stern show every day, and he spent about a week talking about this movie. In my sophomore year of high school, I met some new friends that were really into music and turned me on to a lot of older bands like the Ramones, the Kinks, and the Zombies, as well as indie bands like Belle and Sebastian and Spoon. This was also about the time I discovered Nuggets and started listening to every Beatles album, not just the greatest hits. So yes, this was a pretty musically rich time for me, and there was a lot of excitement in the air about new music. Maybe it's where I live now in such a non-music town. Sorry, Fort Pierce and Port St. Lucie, but my day job opportunities led me here. Some of the magic seems to have disappeared over the years, and with the financial strains of touring for indie artists these days, music seems to be in a pretty sad state right now. So yes, this is my nostalgia as an early millennial. I seriously look back at the early 2000s as a time I'm very fond of, and I wish I'd gone to see more bands during that time, but I did see quite a few. This is a list my current self would still listen to and enjoy, because I've moved on from many albums my younger self would have liked, so I'm not going to include those. I'm also not including legacy artists here. If they released anything before the 1990s, I'm probably going to exclude them, except for maybe Robin Hitchcock. One exception, this is my list after all. Here comes the fun part. The Clientele Suburban Light. This is the CD cover. This is the final reissue. I could write a book about this band. Suburban Light is a universe in miniature. Every song is a delicate sunlit reverie. I could literally write a book about them, but here's the short version. This band shaped my entire taste for melodic, whimsical indie music. I saw this band twice within about 6 months, and the second time my old band opened up for them, but that's another story for another time. But I will always love this album. It's a go-to piece of music that washes waves of dark calm over my troubled soul. Beechwood Sparks. This is their self-titled debut album. I once listened to this while driving west in the Texas desert at sunset, and the sunset never seemed to end, and the vast rolling canyons just sounded perfect with this album. It finally made sense. This is such a perfect blend of cosmic folk rock leaning psychedelic music with superb musicianship, beautiful harmonies, and just plain great songs played exceptionally well. This is a desert island disc. Wilco, Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot. It took me a while to get into this album, and that's probably why I love it so much now. It takes many listens to unravel the sonic textures, layers, and minimalistic but sharp lyrics that could mean so many different things all at once, yet my mind fills in the colors like a blank canvas in the void of a Midwest snowstorm. The Frowning Clouds, Whereabouts. This is psych garage folk perfection from Down Under. It's one of those albums that always puts me in a better mood. I really wish they had made more music. Dr. Dog, We All Belong. I saw this band something like 3 times in about 2 years, and each time just blew my mind, especially the drums. And of course, this album is indie rock perfection. It was a nice blend of influences from 60s masters like the Kinks and the Beatles' White Album era, and that type of sound dropped into the landscape of the aughts indie rock. Dr. Dog is such a tight band, and the album has such a warmth to it with really clever and amusing lyrics. Ty Segall and White Fence. Hair. I want to let the critic take over this one. Hey man, it's the critic. I'm back. This Ty Segall, man, this hair, it's like someone shoved a burning lava lamp into a guitar amp and told it to dream. There's fuzz everywhere with these warped melodies spiraling into oblivion, and vocals are bouncing off the walls like hallucinogenic ping pong balls. You're not just listening, man. You're being dragged through a psychedelic carnival with no exits. And it's just the perfect chaos. Well, thanks, critic. You said it way better than I ever could have. The Tide, Twice. I just love this album. Well, I only have it on CD, and I guess I need to get it on wax someday. But gosh, this is one of the few times sunny California surf rock mixes with indie to ride the perfect wave into an endless summer. My old band played a few shows with the Tide, and they were like our spiritual older brothers, but what a fantastic piece of music. Richard Swift, Dressed Up for the Letdown. I once met this very tall man at South by Southwest in Austin and saw him play a gig there. Not many people were at his show, which is a shame because this guy is a master pop songwriter who has a musical imagination that could rival that of Harry Nilsson. It's playful and childlike, but also dark and mysterious. Brendan Benson, La Palco. One of my first forays into real indie rock. I got the CD used shortly after it came out, and I didn't really get the music at first. It sounded weird, but I quickly grew to love it as an all-time favorite. This was one of my most played CDs of all time. Though the record has a really weird, longer alternate take of Metairie that I don't love as much, but I still love the music of Brendan Benson, no matter what trends come and go. And this was definitely the soundtrack of my youth, and I still spin it for fun from time to time. Jacuzzi Boys, Glazin'. When I first heard this, I was hooked. I got home early from work one Friday, discovered this band, and listened to them for the rest of the afternoon on YouTube. This was probably early on into when you could listen to a lot of songs on YouTube. I didn't know how music like this could exist, but it's the perfect blend of old school punk and surfy psychedelia all rolled into one big sunshine melted glaze. And I've probably seen this band 10 times since I've moved to Florida. Ultimate Painting by Ultimate Painting. These guys just blew my mind with a perfect indie psych album. It sounds kind of like the Velvet Underground softer moments, but way more trippy and a little bit more melodic with just these beautiful melodies and pop sensibilities. It is a total favorite. La Luz, Weirdo Shrine. I saw this band in Miami in 2016 or so, and it blew my mind how good they were live. It sounded just like the album, but better. What an awesome band of all-female musicians who play what I call surf noir. Now, they've kind of moved away from the surfy sound a little bit on their more recent albums, but this was great, and I only got it because I saw that it was produced by Ty Segall, and I'm like, I like that guy, so if he produced this, it must be interesting, and I'm certainly glad that I got it. I got it on CD first, and eventually got the album. I might have bought this at the show. John Vanderslice, Time Travel is Lonely. This guy is a true genius and cult leader, and while I don't usually like anything that even comes close to emo, which this isn't really, this is one of those albums that I listened to every day for months on end when I first discovered it in 2023. I was way after it came out. The lyrics are like nothing else, and of course Vanderslice recorded it at his wonderful Tiny Telephone studio, which uses all top-of-the-line analog vintage recording gear, which is listed in detail for each of his albums on his website. Every time I hear an interview with him, I get inspired to make more music. The Raconteurs, Help Us Stranger. Another one of those albums that I just love from start to finish. I was putting together the Electric Splash when this came out, and it served as kind of a North Star at the time. I like this better than any of the guys' other bands, and actually saw them in Miami on this tour. In fact, the ticket stub is still back there because they still gave ticket stubs back then. And I think they played the entire album and didn't even play Steady As She Goes, which isn't on this album, and I thought it was pretty cool that they skipped that one. Speaking of other projects from those guys, the White Stripes, White Blood Cells. When I first heard Fell in Love with a Girl come over the alternative radio station airwaves, I think my jaw literally dropped to the floor and I had to pull my car over to the side of the road. I just started driving at the time. And then I saw that Lego video on MTV2 or something, and I knew that something big was happening in music. Indie Rock Guy actually has something to say about this one. Indie Rock Guy! Yeah, I guess they call me Indie Rock Guy. And that's not what I call myself. It's just like the cruelty of the industry, man. They come up with all these nicknames and stuff. I mean, they think they're like all funny and stuff. It's not funny, man. The joke's on me, you know. Yeah, man, you know, that guitar riff on Dead Leaves and Dirty Ground, that's why I'll never quit indie rock, I guess. The camera's a little sideways, but man, that's because life is a little sideways, man. Like, life isn't just reality, you know, yeah. I've talked about this album a lot recently. Ryan Adams' Heartbreaker. It's easily one of the best singer-songwriter albums of my lifetime. It's just great. The Archaics self-titled album, this really underexposed photograph. This album hit me like a jolt of lightning after a long dry spell. It's garage psych at its finest, gritty, immediate, raw energy, and enough to make you want to start a band from scratch, which I did. I saw this band at Will's Pub in Orlando during Field Trip South 2017, and I just could not believe what I was seeing and hearing. It might be my favorite show I've ever seen. The OC's Castle Mania. There must have been something in the waters of San Francisco at the time. Castle Mania is a sonic hurricane bottled into a record. Fuzzy guitars, manic drums, and John Dwyer's voice careening across the tracks. It's chaotic, it's joyous, it's pure adrenaline in vinyl form. You don't just listen, you run with the storm. Stinking Cloud still makes my hair stand up every time I hear it. Cat Power, the greatest. This is a perfect album for those dark nights where your soul aches and you need to connect with another half-broken spirit to bond over whispered melodies that cover you like your favorite blanket. The Exploding Hearts Guitar Romantic. The energy is nuclear. Punk, pop diva with the rawness of the gutter, and heartbreak all in one explosive mix. This is what an in-your-face rock and roll band sounds like. Raining Sound, Shattered. Just a great heartbroken album that really spins well on those late nights when your mind races and your soul aches for something that can no longer be a part of your reality. It's a nice blend of garage rock and soul music. Charles Bradley, No Time for Dreaming. Actually saw him in Charleston, and there wasn't a dry eye in the house, but I'm going to let the psychedelic critic explain this one.
Okay, like, on paper, Charles Bradley isn't really psychedelic, but the man has so much soul, you can feel his sonic hugs coming through the speakers. Every note is a warm punch to the chest. And if psychedelic is about mind-altering emotion, then yes, this album is really psychedelic in spirit. Man, I don't care what anyone says. This is feeling heavy music, and that's what counts.
Thank you, psychedelic critic. You said it better than I could have. Robin Hitchcock, self-titled album from 2017. I bought it on Record Store Day 2017 at Park Avenue Records in Orlando's Sight Unseen because it was one of my favorite artists, produced by Brendan Benson, another one of my favorite artists. This is one of those albums I listen to on my way to the recording studio to get hyped up about a session. It feels accessible and it feels like, hey, I could make music like this, and I love that. It's perfect poetic psych rock played by a 4-piece guitar band that leans into the power pop. Jason Isbell, Southeastern. This album really hit hard. When I first heard Live Oak during some live YouTube performance by the band, it stopped me in my tracks. I also went to high school with Sadler Vaden of the 400 unit, who was already an incredible guitarist at that tender young age. I've recently taken a long break from alcohol and had not listened to this album in a while. It definitely sums up a lot of the thoughts and mixed feelings that come at you out of the blue when you make such a drastic change to your lifestyle. But I loved this album long before that. It's so well written, well sung, well produced, and well played. All of those things, and it's just a great set of songs. And here's one that I don't have on vinyl or CD, and it's a pretty expensive record nowadays. That's why I don't have it. It's Super Drag, In the Valley of Dying Stars. It's power pop with teeth. It's catchy but jagged, heartfelt, and has that kind of I'm a musician, but I'm tired of these music business games energy. Songs that hit you in the chest while making you nod along. Every song is an anthem for the quietly frustrated. And here are my honorable mentions in no specific order. The Apples in Stereo, New Magnetic Wonder. Satan's Pilgrims, Psych-sploitation. The Losing Streaks, Last House. Charlie Crockett, The Man from Waco. The Nude Party, self-titled. Lily Hyatt, Trinity Lane. David Kilgore, A Feather in the Engine. And I really want to get Left by Soft by David Kilgore and the Heavy Eights, but it's a really expensive record right now. The A-La-Las, self-titled. Sturgill Simpson, Meta Modern Sounds in Country Music. Foxygen, We Are the 21st Century Ambassadors of Peace and Magic. May Powell, Both Ways Brighter. Ron Gallo, Heavy Meta. And Green Day, Warning. I'll say that this album made a major impact on me, and yeah, it's probably the reason that I like the Kinks.
Giant, orange, giant, orange, giant, orange, giant, orange, giant, orange.